Hello everyone, my name is Ranim Khoja and I'm a PhD student in computer science at Chalmers University of Technology. And we are here today so we can have a brief training and introduction about ChatGPT. So we are here today for two main reasons. First, we want to give an overview about one of the new trends in artificial intelligence, that is ChatGPT. Because staying up to date with such technologies is important for us software engineers and software companies in general to remain competitive in the market. The second reason concerns why I, specifically, am giving you this training today. So we at Chalmers are performing an exploratory study in collaboration with different software companies. And the goal of the study is to get as many interactions as possible and conversations with ChatGPT by software engineers in real-life settings. This will help us understand how software engineers can utilize ChatGPT in the best way in order to increase their productivity and make their work more efficient. All of the data that we will collect will completely be anonymized, of course. And remember that we are here to observe, not judge. So the goal is to explore, learn, and benefit you by sharing our knowledge and findings with you. Now, what is ChatGPT? The short answer is, well, it's a chatbot. The long answer is that it's a conversational agent that is powered by a large language model. This large language model is trained on massive amount of data from various topics and domains. And it's used to perform many different tasks, including text summarization, question answering, text completion, and solving code problems. So you can see here, this is a snippet from ChatGPT, where you can just ask it something and it will generate a response for you. It uses a transformer architecture to understand and generate natural language. The transformer architecture is basically multiple layers that operate on the input data to encode it into a useful representation. This will allow the model to understand the input. And what is special about these layers is that they use a mechanism called an attention mechanism. And as the name suggests, this mechanism allows the model to know what words in the input to focus on or give more attention to when creating these representations. And what is special about ChatGPT and made it stand out among multiple chatbots is its capability to remember what have been discussed earlier in the chat. So it keeps in mind the context that the conversation is in. And this is very great for its users because it allows for follow-up questions, and even it allows us to keep updating our question and building on it until we get the desired answer. Another thing is that it's very good at understanding complex questions and sub-questions. So if you have a certain query and you want a very specific answer to something, then it will be able to break it down into different parts and provide you a complete answer and even provide examples if needed. Unlike any other chatbot and language model, ChatGPT has its own limitations. So the first thing is that the data that it has been trained on is limited until 2021. So, for example, ChatGPT doesn't know who won the World Cup last year. Another thing is that it can be very overconfident when the user asks it something ambiguous or not very specific. So it tries to predict the user intention and provides an answer without asking for clarification questions. So always use your best judgment when interacting with ChatGPT and make sure to ask questions with sufficient details and context. The last thing is related to its performance. So since ChatGPT is getting more popular by time, it may be at capacity at certain times, but this can be mitigated by refreshing the page a few times, and hopefully it will be running again. Now let's have a short demo to see how ChatGPT works. First, go to chat.openai.com and you will be in this page. So if you don't have an account yet, you could sign up, otherwise you log in. For simplicity, I have it here logged in already. So this is my page. I see here all of the history of other conversations that I had with ChatGPT. So here, for example, I have some questions, so I can always go and build on a previous chat. Otherwise, I'm gonna start a new chat by clicking on new chat here. And let's start with asking a very general question. So, what is Gothenburg most known for? So ChatGPT would try to understand what our question is about, and then it would generate the answer. And the way it does it is that it generates word by word. So that's why we don't see a block of text just appears right away rather than per word. So here it gives a very nice answer, mentions some companies like Volvo, the entertainment park, Liseberg, and other things. But then perhaps I don't want to read the whole thing, so summarize this. And then it knows what I'm referring to by saying this, right? Because it has access to the context, so everything that has been written in the conversation. Then it summarizes the answer that it gave before. Now let's ask something technical. So let's say that I'm a software developer that is new in a company, and I come across a piece of code that I don't really understand because it was written by someone and that person just left the company. So explain this code, and then let me paste it here. So this is what I pasted. It should be a parser that parses the output of git diff. So what it does is that it analyzes this code. It knows that it's a Java code. Then it says what it does. Then it explains every single part of the code right here. And then exactly, so it explains every line of the code. So let's try something. So let me check if this is a function. It's not. So put this code in a function and rewrite it in Python, because Python is cool. And you see how quick it is. So it first put it in a function. It even includes the modules that are needed to execute this solution. So it's great to provide a complete solution. So if we just copy this code and run it in a Python environment, it should compile and give you an output. And it doesn't just do that, but it also explains what the code does, which is great when learning. So let's see. So I don't see a lot of comments, so add comments to it. So it's supposed to put some meaningful comments that would explain relevant parts of the code, and it does. So this line, perhaps I wouldn't know what it does, but then it says that it splits the output into lines and then iterates over these lines.
and then extracts the old and new files names, and then eventually it prints the output of git diff. So let's go to requirements engineering. So if we ask what is a good user story that would be related to this function. So it creates a user story, follows the template. As a software developer, I want to easily identify the names of the files. Exactly, and then it also puts why, not only what, but why as well. And then it also adds extra information that perhaps we didn't ask in the question, but this is what is great about ChatGPT, because even though perhaps you have a very specific question, but with additional information in the answer, it's very useful for you to learn new things even if you didn't ask for it. And this also helps to provide the bigger picture. Okay, so if we go to software testing, so create a unit test for this. Here it creates the unit test using the module unit test. I think for Python there's another module called PyTest, I guess. So let's see. Redo it using PyTest. Whoops. PyTest module. Oh, I gotta wait until there. There. So it's very adaptive. You can always ask for different solutions, perhaps even ask it to add more alternatives. And again, it doesn't only provide the code solution, but it also explains each line of the code.
Now that we've seen the capabilities and limitations of ChatGPT, we should look into why it can be useful for us software engineers specifically. Well, ChatGPT provides three important things that we need in our daily life. It provides us quick access to information. It provides assistance with problem solving that includes code solutions. And more importantly, it helps with learning and self-improvement. So you can always ask ChatGPT about new concepts and ask follow-up questions to learn more. Coming back to the purpose of this training, we hope we made you a bit more curious about ChatGPT and made you more interested in our study. Again, this study is to help us gain more understanding about how software engineers interact with chatbots, and for you to help you using chatbots more effectively. The study will require you to use ChatGPT for 5 business days. Send your interactions, then fill a short survey. So if you're interested, please register by scanning this QR code below. Then you will receive further instructions and a participant ID to anonymize your data. Now that we've reached the end of our training, it's important for us to take away the following points. So we learned today that ChatGPT uses a transformer architecture to understand and generate natural language. We've seen that it was very good at remembering chat context, but may be overconfident sometimes. And we talked about how we will be performing an exploratory study to understand how we can use chatbots in general and ChatGPT more specifically more effectively and help us be more productive. Thank you very much and have a good day.